Good afternoon, Pembroke Academy students. Mr. Famulari here. You may remember me as the headmaster of the school, or just recognize me as the goofy old guy with bad jokes in the class of 2020's Winter Carnival skit. I thought it would be a good opportunity to reach out to you by way of a small video message today, just to give you an update on where we are, possibly where we're headed, and in the process maybe answer some questions that you may have from a student's perspective. I also don't think it's a bad idea for you to see and hear from me as opposed to getting a one call now voice message or worse yet an email. I think this is more of a personalized touch, and so bear with me. I spent the better part of the last 3 weeks operating as your building principal, but doing so remotely outside of the building. I have two small young children of my own who themselves need to do remote learning each and every day, so I'm trying to balance those needs with obviously supporting the needs of my school community. This is a much harder job to do from outside of the building than it is inside the building, believe it or not, but yet here we are, and onward we must move. For much of the last 3 weeks, I, like many of you and your teachers, have been operating from behind a computer screen, conducting remote online meetings. I've been working on various announcements related to the school closure and remote learning model. And I've been sifting through hundreds of emails, asking all sorts of questions about this, that, and the other thing, doing my best to try and provide answers in a timely manner. One of the biggest downsides throughout this whole process for me is the disassociation I feel from you, the students. I prefer not to be operating at a distance from you, but rather be in the building among all of you. Believe it or not, I would probably give just about anything right now to be standing in the cafeteria, watching hundreds of you eat your lunch, gossiping about God knows what, and hearing things with my ears that they will never unhear. Unfortunately, that is simply not allowable right now, and for the immediate future, we must operate the best we can in this remote learning model. As you all know, our school closure initially looked like a 2-week timeline beginning on March 16th, but that was quickly pushed out to 3 weeks by the governor and the commissioner of education. That timeline was once again escalated with the governor's stay-at-home order issued last week. So as of right now, our best case scenario is resuming normal business activities from within the building on Monday, May 4th. In light of the evolving conditions worldwide, rapidly updating news updates, and reported announcements by government leaders, we must prepare ourselves for at least the remote possibility that this is not the end of our remote learning experience, and that large group gatherings may continue beyond May 4th. I hope that that is not the case, but the trend would indicate otherwise right now. So some have asked whether the remote learning model will continue beyond May 4th and for the duration of the 1920 school year. We simply do not know the answer to that question right now. We have been kind of closely tuned in to what the commissioner and the governor is telling us on a weekly, if not daily basis. So what I would ask you to do as a student is to avoid speculating on what the next few days, weeks, or months will look like, and instead do your very best to think and act in the present, what you can do today, what you can do tomorrow in the very immediate future. Where does that leave us with regards to school-based activities and other important events? Yesterday, the governor declared that standardized testing will not take place in the state of New Hampshire for the remainder of this semester. That includes the SAT school day, PSAT 10, and the grade 11 science assessment. All of those things have been canceled. The AP test, however, will still occur. It'll look slightly different this year for AP students in AP classes, with an abbreviated 45-minute online test. More information will be shared regarding what the AP test will look like as the College Board makes that information available to us. The NHIAA today did update us. They wanted us to know that the spring athletic schedule has been pushed back somewhat. The first date for schools to begin practices will be May 4th, and the first date for eligible gameplay will be May 13th at this point. That is as of today, and if things change or deadlines get pushed back and the NHIAA communicates any changes to that spring sports schedule, we will certainly let all of you know. April vacation has been a common question recently. Whether or not we are going to have an April vacation, will it still be from the 27th of April through May 1st? I simply don't have a definitive answer on those questions yet. My instincts tell me, in talking with other SAU leadership, that we fully recognize that in the very near future, a much needed break will need to happen for students, for families, for teachers, for administrators. I think all of us are starting to experience a little bit of fatigue from this remote learning model, and it would be appropriate and timely for us to adhere to some sort of April vacation schedule where we just simply unplug and pause from all of this and hopefully get outside and enjoy some nice weather and distance ourselves from the distance learning, as it were. I don't have any definitive answers for you on that yet, but if and when a decision about April vacation is made, even if it is just to say, yes, we're having April vacation when it is planned, we will put something out to you. There are numerous end-of-year social or senior events that are quickly coming up on the calendar. One of those activities is the senior class trip. We were contacted this week by the Hulbert Center in Fairleigh, Vermont. That is the location annually, at least for the last several years, for the senior class trip. And the Hulbert Center notified us that the governor of Vermont has effectively closed down all schools for the remainder of their school year. And because of that, the Hulbert Center has suspended all spring activities for their staff, which means essentially, unfortunately, it pains me to tell the senior class that the senior class trip has been canceled at this time. Unfortunately, we have made very few, if any, decisions regarding other significant events due to the fluid nature of everything, ever-changing times and the condition of our state. It is prudent for us to hold off on making any decisions to cancel, postpone, or proceed as planned with other significant events such as prom, the senior cruise, or the top 10 dinner. And I would include in that graduation. There are a host of reasons why we have not yet made determinations on these events and the other events that are important to our school community. Because there is no absolute timetable for resuming large group of gatherings, these events simply, many of them are large group gatherings, and we don't want to rush to judgment on any of these activities. As we have seen several times already, those with a higher pay grade than mine are frequently making those decisions for us and taking the ability to make those decisions out of our hands. Speaking a bit about graduation, there have been ongoing conversations among administrators, speaking with staff members, certainly Mrs. Michaud, the graduation coordinator, as to what graduation will look like for our class of 2020 this year. It is our full intent to celebrate your accomplishment at some point in time, whether it is proceeding with our previously scheduled graduation ceremony, or if it's going to take a different shape, a different look at a later date and time. We simply don't have the answers to those questions yet. What I will tell you, if you are a senior listening to this message and wondering about your graduation, every day that ticks off the calendar during this remote learning model does call into question our ability to have a normal graduation, as it were. If anything beyond May 4th gets extended in terms of the remote learning model, it even further jeopardizes that ability. Caps, gowns, tassels, all of those things are being talked about, how we order them, if we order them for you. I know that senior class dues is something that has been interrupted, if not indefinitely suspended, so you're not expected to pay your senior class dues right now. But these things all cost money, and how are they going to get paid for if seniors aren't paying their senior class dues? Those are not decisions you need to worry yourself about. Those are decisions that I and others will be making, and doing so with all of you in mind. The health and safety of our students, our staff, your families is ultimately what is most important to us right now. If decisions are left up to the district or the school administration, we will always err on the side of preserving your safety, and albeit at the risk of delaying or making difficult decisions when necessary, we are going to take our time on some of these things. Lastly, if we make a decision now at the end of March, only to have to turn around to double back and reconsider those decisions at a later date because of external forces, imposed restrictions, or other announcements from people more important than me, we would undoubtedly encounter some pretty upset students. And at the risk of disappointing you now, I'd rather have you sit tight a little bit longer and wait for some of these decisions to be made. I know it can be frustrating and very confusing to be left in the dark on a lot of what's going on right now and what the months of May and June will look like. But at this time, we ask for your continued patience and understanding with the current circumstances as unprecedented as they are. I assure you that the administration is working collaboratively with SAU leadership to ensure that we are giving each one of these events their necessary attention and at the appropriate time. Any announcements made to future events will be clearly communicated to all stakeholders at the appropriate time, and we will start to tackle these events one by one as they come up on the calendar. Lastly, I would like to address the seniors directly, class of 2020. While the other 3 grades will eventually resume what is a normal high school career for them, your senior year has been rudely interrupted, and vitally important social and co-curricular events hang in the balance and could possibly be cruelly stripped from your experience. There is no way to replicate any of those things with fidelity if they are jeopardized, but I can assure you that the school is actively engaging in conversations regarding how to make some of these things a possibility for you still. I will do everything I can to further the brainstorming of creative ideas. To all of you, hang in there. Take good care of yourselves, of your family, of one another, and be well. Please do your best to maintain the expectations of social distancing that have been over-communicated to us by seemingly everyone in the media and all of those who we take direction from. Please make good decisions and know that we will get through this period of uncertainty and abnormality together as a school community. Do your very best to engage with your teachers online in remote learning activities, and do the work you are assigned to the best of your ability right now. We're thinking about you every day, and I miss you. We miss you, and eventually we'll all get back together again real soon. Be well, be good, go PA, and have a great day.